if you've not been either coming to or listening to Mass this week, you really have to kind of start with my Monday homily, which is on the parish website and on YouTube. But in it, I give a background for the book of the prophet Hosea. And one of the things that I said was that it has some of the harshest language in the Bible, but it also has some of the most tender. And my interpretation is that we can attribute most of the seriously harsh language to the author, Hosea, and the tender language we can attribute to God. Now, the reason I say this is not because I don't think that there are consequences for what we do. I think this is important because sometimes if we focus just on the tenderness or the mercy of God, we might be tempted to presumption, to say, oh, well, no matter what I do, God's going to love me and so everything is okay. And I don't want to say that. One of the best ways that I've heard it explained is when we speak of God's wrath, because God can't lose his temper. If we could make God lose his temper, then he wouldn't be all powerful. We would have power over him. And he is perfect. He's all powerful. He's unchanging. So when we read in the Bible about God's wrath or his anger or his punishment, that's when we get what we ask for. However, God doesn't give us what we ask for, or at least he gives us a lot of chances to rethink and to reconsider. And that's what we call God's mercy. That's how his mercy is explained. And so this is a wonderful, wonderful section to read in the book of the prophet Hosea. God says, when Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called him. And you can just kind of feel the weight on God's heart. The more I called them, the further they went from me, and they sacrificed to Baals, to false idols. Yet it was I who taught Ephraim to walk, and I took them in my arms. I drew them with human cords, with bands of love. I fostered them like one who raises an infant to his cheek. Isn't that sweet? God just picks us up and he hugs us and he holds us. Yet though I stooped to feed my child, they did not know that I was their healer. What a terrible pity if we were to think of God as an angry, vengeful God and not realize that he was our healer. He says, my heart is overwhelmed, my pity is stirred. God loves us. He won't force his love on us. But he loves us, and he gives us so many opportunities to return to him.